Welcome, everybody. My name is Boomer, and this is Boomer's Playground. This is going to be a development channel, web development, software engineer, front end developer, full stack dev. Like, I don't really care what you call yourself or kind of what you're striving for. This channel is just going to be about development or software engineering in general. So I might be looking down. I did take some notes to make sure I hit everything. Otherwise, I tend to ramble on. So if I look down, that's what it's for. So know that. Sorry about the prison cell that I'm in right now. This is actually a room in my apartment. I may or may not be moving, so I kind of haven't done anything with it yet. So you'll just have to deal with it for a little bit, and I'll get some art or something on the wall so that you guys can see something. I actually wouldn't mind one of those neon lights. If somebody knows how to get those, that would be awesome. So, nonetheless, like I said, my name is Boomer. I am 38 years old. I am originally from Wisconsin, and I now live in the Phoenix Valley area. So, I am a software engineer. That is my actual job title. I have done zero college education. I'm all self-taught. So, this channel is going to come from my point of view on a lot of things. Um, in the development world, there is rarely a 100% only one way to do things. So, as I give suggestions, as I suggest the things that I have seen work, if you don't agree, that's fine. There's more than one way to accomplish this task. I'm just going to go off of what I've seen work time and time again with the people that I have helped mentor, with the people that I'm mentoring, and the people in my local, coding group. So you don't have to like it. You don't have to agree with it. I'm just going to give you what I've seen work. With that in mind, anybody that you receive information from on the internet, myself included, take the information if you like it, write it down, keep a note on your iPad, whatever you use to take notes, take a note of the things you like, and then go do your own research. Make sure that that works for you. Make sure that that's even what you want to accomplish. So, again, that's me. Even people with millions and millions upon people of views, you still want to make sure that you're not just taking one source and be like, oh, that's the only way I'm going to do it. The whole development or engineering world is about finding the best solution to problems. And, what has worked for me may not work for you, but it may. So that's why it's really important for you to take what I give you, what the next person gives you, what the person after that gives you, take that information and then go in and actually like do some research, do your own due diligence, make sure that's really what you're looking for. So that's the first part because I know these channels, the people say something and then there's like 100 people in the comments talking about how that's wrong or that doesn't work or they know a guy that didn't work for. And that's the case. You can always, always, always find that edge case. And I get it, but I hate when people bring that stuff up. When I give a suggestion and I'm like, hey, it's going to take you a year to be a developer, get like good enough to be a developer. Somebody always has, oh, I know a guy that did it in 3 months. Okay, and that's fine. And I'm glad he was able to accomplish that in 3 months. But just from the numbers alone, most people can't do that. So I understand that you know somebody or you know somebody who knows somebody who did that. That's fine. That's the minority. That is not the majority. And so what I'm really trying to funnel in here is what I see the masses doing, what I see working multiple times, opposed to, I know a guy who just happened to be really good at coding for whatever reason and he got a job in 3 months. Like, that's just not realistic. So keep that in mind as well, because you're always going to have that person that knows the guy who he got into Google without a college degree, which now is not quite as well. I mean, it's still super, super impressive, but it's not quite as impressive as it was, a year or two ago when they did require a degree. But there's always somebody who knows somebody to say that what you're saying is not right. So let that roll off your back. Take all the information, do your own research. So that's the first thing that I want to impart upon you guys as we're going through this journey and as I'm helping you guys become employed developers. Okay, now that we have the obligatory legal stuff out of the way, I know it wasn't really legal stuff. I always like to add that stuff because what you'll see a lot. So that and this is kind of the main reason I'm building this channel even is so like I'm on a couple Discord servers that are parts of courses or parts of like developer groups, and anytime you see somebody ask a question and somebody reply with like a really good response, there's always somebody that jumps in and um, I don't know if they're trying to like bring that response down or they're just trying to say like, oh hey, I actually kind of know more than you. But it's like, they bring in this response that is, you know, not common, and I hate when people do that. I dislike it so much. But that's just me, regardless. So, yeah. So the reason that I'm starting this channel, and this is what I'm gonna get with the notes here, um, is as I'm in this Discord, I've been working for a little over 3 years now, and I've been on the Discord for equally as long, if not longer. And you see the same questions day in and day out. And if they're not the same, they're similar. And so what that made me think is, okay, there's clearly a disconnect in these kind of areas, and it's not anyone's fault, right? It's not the instructor's fault. It's not the student's fault. Um, this is a lot like picking up a second language. If you've ever tried to do that, you know how hard it was. If you're like me, you probably failed multiple times, and you had to try 4 or 5 times before you even got to a point where you're like, okay, like I'm kind of getting somewhere. That's the same with programming. You're learning a whole new language. And so I start to see these same patterns or these same questions, or people are struggling at the same parts with the same kind of, they're struggling with the same issues. And so I'm seeing that a lot. Also, at my job now, I'm not in charge of onboarding, but when we bring in a junior and apprentice, I'm kind of the person that kind of takes it, kind of helps onboard them or helps kind of mentor them. And one, it's because I really enjoy doing that. There were a couple people that, stepped in and helped when I was learning that if they wouldn't have been there, I don't know that I would be 3 years into my job right now. So it's really just trying to pay it back because in this field, anyone can become a developer, but it's not for everyone. So what I mean by that is if you have no education, you dropped out of high school, you dropped out, you got your GED, you dropped out, you didn't get it. Let's say you graduated high school. Let's say you graduated college. Let's say you went to college and dropped out of college. Let's say you went to a boot camp. Let's say you dropped out of a boot camp. Let's say you have a doctorate. It really doesn't matter your education level. The education level may help you in certain areas and it may help you progress a little bigger, a little faster, but anybody can become a developer. With that being said, just because anybody can doesn't mean everybody should. So I get a lot of flack for this, people telling me that I'm trying to like tell people not to become a developer, and that's not the case. Um, all I'm saying is not everybody is meant to be a doctor. Not everybody is meant to be an accountant. Not everybody is meant to be a car mechanic. Um, Yet for some reason, it feels like coding is the one area where if you can't succeed in it, it's like a failure almost. And I don't get it. I don't understand where this necessity to become a coding person is that gets these people all riled up like that. And I imagine it's probably the money, but if you get into it and you don't like it, it's okay to say, hey, I don't want to be a developer anymore. Now, don't take 30 days of a course and be like, oh, dude, I hate this. 30 days is not near enough. I really think you should spend 6 months to a year and really trying before you can truly decide, like, hey, this is not for me. Now, the benefit to this is you can do this almost risk-free. Even if you go through a year of coding and courses and you realize you didn't like it, you still gain something. You still gain a little troubleshooting, a little problem solving, and heck, you can probably code a little bit. Now, I'm not going to hire you as a developer, but those are still really, really valuable skills. This is a little different than if you had to go to college to like be a doctor, right? So, don't take that part and be like, oh, Boomer said if I don't like it, like just don't do it. Well, one, don't listen to just what one person says, and two, you know, put in your time. You have to put in your time to know if you really like it or not. So, um, the other thing I really am going to like about this channel is I took the Colt Web Developer Bootcamp about 5 years ago, 5.5, 6 years ago, whatever. It has since been updated, and that's the big Discord server that I'm on. I'm going to go through every single coding exercise, and I'm going to attack it as if I was new, or as I'm going through it, I'm going to try and um, harness is a bad word, but I'm going to try and remember like what the people that I've mentored and the people that I have onboarded, the kind of questions and the thought processes that they were thinking about to hopefully help like bridge those gaps that I'm seeing, consistently every day, the same questions being asked about, array methods or functions. Like the big one is function and parameters. Like that gives so many people trouble. And it's fine. That's not a bad thing. Like that gave me trouble. It's a whole new like paradigm or idea. So I'm going to go through those exercises. I'm not going to edit these videos. And when I say that, I am going to edit if I burp, if I misspoke, if I get too drunk and you can't hear me, I will edit that stuff. But when I'm coding, I'm not going to edit the errors. So, you pay 10, 12, 15 bucks for a course on Udemy. I understand you do not want to see me troubleshoot for an hour or 30 minutes or, even for 15 minutes to fix a problem. Like you paid, you just want to see the code that works. And while I understand that, and that's a good thing, it's also a bad thing because when you get into the real world, the stuff that you've built through a course or through a boot camp or on your own traditionally does not come close to what you actually do on the job. So the real skill that you're trying to get is to problem solve, is to find solutions. So that's going to be a really big part of this as well. I'm going to build a couple projects. And again, I'm not going to edit that stuff. You're going to see me Google, just like the most basic stuff. You're going to have gone through like the array methods video, and you're going to see me doing a video where I've got to look up how to use, sum, dot sum or dot every or whatever. And you're going to be like, oh crap, like this dude's making 6 figures, 3 years into his job, and he's still looking up array methods. And so that's going to be kind of another thing that I'm really, really going to enjoy about this course to like show you guys. Another thing I want to do is I want to dispel some myths, both good and bad. So, we've all watched movies. We all have our, our coding guys on YouTube that we subscribe to, and we watch their videos all the time. And I want to dispel the good and the bad myths, right? So I've been at my job for 3 years, a little over 3 years, 3 and a couple months. Um, 6 months into my job, or even at the beginning of the job, or about 6 months in, if you would have asked me where I would be in 3 years, I would not have been even close. And when I say I wouldn't have been even close, I'm saying I thought I would have been way further than I am now as far as like knowledge and like my competency. And there are a couple points in these 3 years that I know for a fact I did some mistakes and there were things I wasn't doing that I should have been that could have helped me progress. I don't think it would have put me where I expected to be, but it definitely will put me in a better spot than I am now. And I will be sharing those things with you guys, so hopefully you don't make those same mistakes. Doing all the coding boot camp or all the coding exercises. Okay, so that's really what this channel is going to be about. I want this to become a community. I know there's already a bunch out there, and that's fine. And I'm not trying to take over the coding world. I'm just trying to share the things that I have seen benefit people, and I've now brought some people on at work, and it seems to work like really well. So I just want to share this stuff, and if it gets traction, it gets traction. I'd love to get some like weekly meetups, bi-weekly meetups. Probably at the beginning it'll have to be like once a month because there's probably not going to be many people. But get some people, like, share, and subscribe. If you got a coding group from any course, get it together and be like, hey man, let's go see if Boomer will hang out with us on Sunday. And I'll answer some questions. You guys may be taking a course with a language that I'm not familiar with, but I can still help. I can still give advice about it. We can look up the docs, and you'd be surprised how a lot of these languages are so close that like I'm a JavaScript guy now. I mean, I have been. I don't know why I said now. I That's what I learned. I learned JavaScript. Um, my first language at my job was Ruby on Rails, but then they put me over to the team that uses JavaScript. So I can help with a lot of Python stuff. I can help with a lot of Ruby stuff because they're so close, and all you have to do is just a quick Google search. And so don't let the fact that the course I took and the course I kind of am like focusing on is JavaScript. Don't let that deter you from watching these videos, and don't let that deter you from reaching out to me and trying to set up some sort of like, every couple weeks we all get together and hold each other accountable, because the language is kind of irrelevant, and I'm going to go over that in another video. But that's going to be the big thing about this channel. The next one is going to be about the 3 different ways that you kind of get into the field. So college, boot camp, and self-taught. I'm going to kind of go over those, kind of the pros and cons. Other than that, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.